Thank you for joining us again this week on another video. This week we're going to bring to you, I think, one of the hypest award shows of the year, or at least I feel it might have been at one point. The Oscars. Yeah, baby. Movie nominations awards for the
Yeah.
best films
Is there
of
is there a lot of
2023.
is there a lot of hype on the Oscars? I feel like that's like the thing, right? Is that it's dying, and then they're trying to figure out why people don't want to watch it. But then it's like a lot of middle aged white men and industry people basically who are just like, why don't they watch this?
Yeah, the higher ups at these companies and execs. Um, I think at one point this was like one of the most watched award shows ever. Uh, but I think that's maybe been a thing of the past over the last few years. I have heard, like you said, why aren't people watching? And I think it's not that the show itself has a problem, but it could be the people at the top. The idea of the show is great. It's just industry people, blowing each other up, and
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole like when we're starting to hear more and more about like this host bombed and this host, and then you start to find out more about how that structure works, and you're like, well, of course they bombed. You literally told them like 2 weeks in advance that they're gonna this comedian has to now be the Oscars host or whatever the award show is, and these comedians who are some of the most talented ones out there. You're talking about like Joe Coy, them. He was thrown to the wolves pretty much. It basically set up for failure. And one of the few times that we actually seen somebody succeed and actually come out on top from that scenario, Ricky Gervais, right? But Ricky Gervais took the approach where he was just gonna shit on.
Oh,
And
dude, I think the shows that I've seen Ricky Gervais host have been the best, dude. He makes them all so uncomfortable. Not just about who they are, but like what they do for a living.
yeah,
And he really like I I can understand how he was like, hey man, like I get that this is like a big thing for you guys, but there are other shit. There's shit going on here that we need to talk about, and he sort of like brings that shit to light. Um, and I thought that was fantastic. I mean, but the Oscars, I don't think the Oscars would ever do anything like that. To me, the
it's
Oscars,
different. It's different because like I've seen like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, anything that involves music specifically, it's just different, man. Because I think it's like an overall appearance of Hollywood in general as this kind of like fake, right? First
yeah,
and foremost, fake,
it's a curated image. We all know that by now.
100%. And then you
Yeah,
have these artists in music who the reason why they're so popular is because they make these songs that really resonate with people in a way that just sticks with you, and so you have much more appreciation and respect for those artists than you do like an actor. I mean, the whole point of the Oscars is for you to kind of, especially if you're like a connoisseur of film, to admire those types of films, in particular for the Oscars, admire those types of films that have a lot of substance to them, creativity. Most of the time, these aren't films that are like the most popular ones that everybody's watching, and that's been a big hot button topic. Is you have these massive films that everybody watches, and then you have these smaller films that are seem to be you know appreciated more in this kind of setting for the Oscars.
it's more
And
like art. It's like art versus I don't know. I don't know how I would say this. It'd be like a movie that's artsy versus a movie that's funny and for the masses. You know what I mean? Like,
not even
and
about funny. I mean, they found a way to kind of throw to even put in comedies in there, but obviously I think a lot of it has to do with the rise of the blockbuster and how that's dominated the movie theater in particular ever since the 90s and into the early 2000s, and
I
you
mean,
have
shit.
all
What was
these.
it? Last year was Barbenheimer, bro. Like the
Yeah,
big
I
summer
mean,
thing, the big, oh, which one will be it at the end of the year kind of thing.
right.
So I honestly, I do agree with you on that point where you mentioned that it's like this is supposed to be an appreciation, and it's sort of, I think that feeling. is what really keeps the common people away. But at the same time, I think it might not keep the common man away as much as we might think it is. But I mean, as everybody's getting older, that population is shrinking. You know, you got to find a new way to bring people into this.
It's
But
also there's a lot of things that factor in there. I mean, I think streaming, there's so much content out there now. Rise of YouTube, people would rather sit there and watch a YouTube video than to watch a movie. You're
thank you for
starting to see a
watching
lot of that now.
this YouTube video in particular.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. Like and subscribe. Thank you. But you know, so there's a lot of that that's going on, and I think it takes away from. I do think that the actor, the leading man, the leading woman, is not it doesn't hold the same weight that it used to back in the day.
I want to jump exactly on that point. And this is
Mm-hmm.
something that I have been feeling for a long time. And I think the reason for that is we keep seeing the same leading people in every movie, dude. Every
Yeah.
movie. Every movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
I mean,
and
I love this actor, but goddamn, Chris Pratt is in everything.
yes, dude. They burned him out. They burned him out for us. I think Hollywood is literally destroying Chris Pratt. What he
I
could have
mean,
been something so much better.
he should have been a lot more selective in the movies, but I get it. You know, like you got to get it while you can.
Yeah.
I mean, the actors. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like especially with the rise of YouTube and these kind of YouTube, like Mr. Beast and all these guys, like Mr. Beast makes more than majority of the most famous actors out there. You know what I mean? So he ton of money, man. Like, and they make a lot of money, but they don't make like, you know, I own
I own a whole
industries and
neighborhood
I own
for my team kind of
it's
money.
not like that kind of crazy money, but you know they obviously are well off. But like even your leading mans, you know they're making like $4 or $5 million, as much as like uh, Robert Downey Jr. kind of broke the mold because he managed to make that deal where he is going to get paid for anything that features Iron Man, and that's because it wasn't no big. They would have never made that deal had this
If they
been like
know how big it was gonna be.
that it was gonna be that massive. Yeah, no, 100%. So he gets all that money. He was the highest paid actor for years, and nobody else even came close. And then you have these, like I said, these big name actors. But ultimately, I think with the Oscars, it's never gonna catch on with casual fans. It's people. That being said, it still holds a certain respect, right? Like everybody seems to know amongst all the other award shows for cinema, people know the term Oscars. It might just be the word for it, and it's just simple, but then now you have like the People's Choice Awards, you have the Screen Actors Guild. There's a bunch of different awards, and depending on who you are and what type of opinion you have of film in general, how the way what kind of fan you are of cinema, that dictates which one you should probably watch. Most people, like if you're a casual fan, the People's Choice Awards is probably perfect for you. You're gonna see the stars that you want to see and that you recognize, in the movies that you probably saw are gonna be on the screen more than these types of films that you probably haven't heard of.
If you're a hater, you can watch the Golden Razzies. Fucking love the Razzies, bro.
We will talk about the Razzies. I do definitely think we need to spend some time to really discuss the Razzies. And I honestly, I love the Razzies as much as I love the Oscars. I also love the Razzies.
That could be the common man's Oscars, dude. I know my movie was good, but I want you to know your movie was shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we talked about all the movies and what gets nominated and how it gets nominated, and I agree, dude, that what's kind of weird is Margot Robbie didn't get nominated for leading role.
Margot Robbie. I mean, to me,
I thought she killed in Barbie.
She did kill in Barbie, and Barbie was a great film.
Understandable.
Yeah, Barbie was a great film, but even going through some of these nominations here, I mean, we've talked about Oppenheimer. I'm not going to trigger that conversation again because it's going to trigger me. I still don't know how you're just like, I'm not going to watch Oppenheimer.
I'll watch it eventually. I watched Dune this year.
It's an amazing movie, and Dune might be one of those
Dune.
movies that somehow breaks through. You know, because you get a lot of these like really popular blockbuster films. They probably need to act. They probably need to figure something out with that because they're not these kind of bigger films. Like they should have some kind of recognition in there, right? I mean, we'll get into that, but um, as far as like to me, Dune managed to kind of break the mold a little bit, similar to what Lord of the Rings did back in the day. I think Lord of the Rings. If you look back at the list of all the Best Picture winners, Lord of the Rings is probably the only like blockbuster that actually came out. Maybe Titanic, but
Yeah, but Titanic
Lord of
was
the
a whole
Rings,
different beast at the time.
yeah, that was its own phenomenon. But Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King was probably like that was in 2004, dude. Where that was Best Picture, and it was also filmed that everybody saw that year. You know what I mean? It was Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, and you don't really see that. That's like saying the Avengers Endgame was the Oscar winner. You know what I mean? You'll probably never see that again, to be honest. But I shouldn't say never. You know, it's very
It's
possible, but
very unlikely that you'll see it soon.
it's very unlikely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But going through the list there, I mean, obviously, to me, what I'm noticing here in looking at all the different nominations is Oppenheimer and Poor Things and Killers of the Flower Moon are probably like some of the they're nominated for some of the more uh, how do you say it, like the more popular awards, I guess. Some of the more
Yeah, the
prestigious awards. They're
bigger
nominated for
prestigious
the
awards,
the more prestigious awards
leading
and
roles, best film, things like
yeah,
that.
leading
Yeah,
actor, leading supporting actor, best directing, best cinematography, best picture, of course. You know, so
I I
those are the
think
ones that
those are
seem to
probably
be
like the top five that
the
everybody
recurring.
looks at.
Yeah, I mean, they have a bunch of stuff, and it's cool that they recognize all the different ones, and they're slowly evolving, right? They're starting to add other stuff in there too, because obviously the landscape of cinema has changed. You know, you have a lot more going on TV now. Streaming obviously has a lot to do with that. But as far as to me, if I had to make any predictions, I'm assuming Oppenheimer is going to take the majority of these awards,
Oh, without a
the
doubt.
exception of like some of the obvious ones. I mean, Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon. I'll be shocked if she doesn't win for that. Although if I had to pick a dark horse for that, it would probably be like Emma Stone in Poor Things. She was pretty awesome in that. If you haven't seen Poor Things, I think it's out on Hulu now.
Yeah,
It's that movie's out there, but it's one of those like you just start watching, and you're like, what is going on here? But I can't take my eyes off this. But so I mean, going into that, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. to me, he's probably going to take the best supporting role. Um, Ryan Gosling is nominated for that. I will say that there's some Barbie representation for you.
if he
But
wins, if Ryan Gosling wins, I think it would be an upset to a lot of people.
oh yeah,
Specifically
100%.
because of it's not like the role he played, but the movie that he was in. I think Barbie could have been sort of like the Lord of the Rings, like the one movie that's like, I don't know how this fits because it wasn't like an artsy film.
But
So,
it
but
was
it
obviously
was
well
good.
done.
Yeah, it was very well done.
Yeah, this year Barbie was what Marvel movies seem to have been every year that they were coming out leading up to this year. They didn't anything past Endgame obviously is kind of like we don't know what
What's going
somebody
on?
maybe No Way Home and all that. Yeah, but you know that were somewhat popular films, but you know Barbie this year there wasn't really anything as far as superhero films go that kind of took over the world. And Barbie was that, you know, Barbie and specifically, I mean, I don't even know how much Oppenheimer, because it made a lot of money in the theater too, but it would have made nowhere near the amount of money if they hadn't started that whole viral Barbenheimer thing. And then everybody was like, well, I got to watch Oppenheimer because apparently the whole world is watching Oppenheimer. And, you know, just the viral aspect of it, I think, did a lot for that movie. I mean, there's a lot. You mentioned the whole Barbie thing. Um, some of those mainstream types of films that come out don't seem to get the recognition, which is probably one of the main reasons why it's not getting a lot of like casual attention. Um, are you upset that Margot Robbie is not in the Best
As
Actress? She should at
as
least been nominated.
as upset as I would be, I think I have much more of an understanding, and I'll call back to what you said at the beginning. Like this is not for the everyday man. You know, this is not these movies.
No.
The you know, if you're looking for the everyday man movie, like you said, People's Choice Awards, things like that,
Yeah.
is where you should
Well,
be looking
let me
at.
ask you this: would you, if she was nominated in a movie like Barbie, would be, nominated into some of these more prestigious awards? Would that entice you to watch the Oscars, or would it not? You probably still wouldn't watch it.
It would, because I remember at one point watching like, oh fuck it, Black Panther. When Black Panther 1 came out, everybody was like, is it going to be on the list? Is it going to be on the
Yeah.
list? Is it going to be nominated? We saw what it did. We saw the subject matter, the execution. Was it going to be on the list? And everybody, I think, had, if we were to be able to say, oh, it might be on the list, the possibility is there. I think it would draw me to the show more. The fact that like they put out the nominations beforehand also, I think, is what leads to like this low viewership, because people look at this list and they go, oh, the movies that I watched aren't on it, so what the fuck do I care, you know?
Yeah,
Iron Man
that's
3 wasn't
ultimately
on it.
that's what this comes down
Yeah.
to. Not like the casual fan is not watching
Yeah. Yeah.
The Color Purple. They're not watching Maestro.
I'm
They're
sure
not
some
watching
of them
Anatomy
are.
of a Fall.
I'm
No,
sure some of them
no,
are,
they're
but a
not.
mass majority are not. A mass
No, they're
majority
not.
are not, I think.
Generally, I'm speaking generally, and no, they're not. Nobody. No, you're not going to watch Anatomy of a Fall. I've seen it. Not to say, but like again, I'm one of those people who would watch these kind of specific movies and has a certain appreciation for
Because
them.
you're into those kind of movies.
Well, I'm into just all movies, and
Yeah.
so I like the blockbuster obviously, and I like those kinds of films. I like bad movies. You know what I mean? I like movies that are so bad that it's like I just want to watch them and see how bad they can be.
So
And
bad they end up on the Razzies.
exactly. And like I'll have an appreciation for a movie like The Room, but
Oh yeah.
I don't know how you could ever fix that, or how you could ever get the casual fan to get interested in something like this. Ultimately, to me, it's just like it wasn't meant for the casual fan, bottom line. And it's just not going to be that popular of a thing, but it'll always have its place,
Yeah. You know, talking about like what it's lacking, do you have any ideas you think you would like to see integrated into the awards show? I mean, we have like, I mean, categories. I think, is one of the things that need to be expanded on, because, like you said, like there's no category for a superhero movie. There's no
Mhm.
there's no category for adventure movies. There's no category for, uh, like I
They
don't know,
don't.
best kids movie. You know, that's not
They'll
an
never
animated
do.
movie. Stuff
They'll
like that.
never do. They'll never do like a best superhero film. That just won't never happen. Uh, they'll try to. They'll generalize it more than that.
Well, yeah,
Um,
they did that with comedy,
whether it
right?
be
Comedy falls
yeah,
under
comedy
musical.
and musical.
Yeah, that's. I think comedy should have uh, its own category, and the reasoning behind that is there was a time where all the movies were comedy. You know, you had like the slapstick movies of, the quiet era, the quiet film era, where you had to get reactions from people by the action that was happening on the screen. You know, it wasn't so much the words that were being said, but the actions happening. And to see that at one point in time that was such a big thing, and that it's just completely fallen to the wayside is kind of disheartening. And I think, again, adding more categories uh that are more popular, I guess you would say, with the the average movie watcher would be something to help bring the shows up as well.
Yeah, I mean, you'd love to see, and I don't know. They got to find the right word for it, because you also don't want it to be this kind of thing where it's like, it's almost like made a mockery of, like they I think they, I don't know if they still have it, or they did something where they were going to do something like the best popular film, which, like, don't call it that. You know what I mean? The fact
Yeah.
that there's some of these movies are some of like the most watched movies and made the most money in history, to me holds a certain type of weight that should be recognized, you know,
Yeah.
and have a certain kind of respect in Hollywood too. And so that, you know, I would love to, whether it be like best blockbuster
Oh, dude,
or,
that would be a
you know,
good title.
something like just something that signifies that this movie did something. And to be honest, like I get some, there's the people out there that there's like, you know, specifically directors and such that will actually come out and say these movies are hurting like these kind of actual cinematic films, you know, true cinema type of thing. And nobody wants to now, because of these blockbusters, nobody wants to see a movie like The Zone of Interest, or they have no interest, they have no, you know, no pun intended, they have no interest in watching anything like that. But and they may be that, you know, there may be a point to that, but at the end of the day, it's like this is keeping theaters alive. Like
Yeah.
you
I
know, this is what people are spending the money to actually go and buying merchandise now. Like they're trying to find ways to actually make money. And you know, to me, with the rise of streaming, was probably the main thing that affected cinema in general, like theaters, the theater experience, to be honest. But um, something like that, they definitely need to find a way to recognize films like John Wick. You know, John Wick 4, for what that movie was a good movie. On top of the fact that the stunts on top of that, you know, stunt work, choreography, you know, something like that needs to be recognized in a way that makes it prestigious along with everything else. Because if you can manage to keep people's attention with that and make it in a way where there's other films that come out too, and this one's the one that stood out above them all, you know, that needs to be recognized. You got the rise of motion capture, you know, motion capture and voice work in general. You have people mentioning on the internet, we'd love to
fucking
see like
Andy Circus, dude.
a best dude. Andy Serkis needs something. Give the man some recognition, dude. Give him his flowers, man. Like he's done what he's able to done. You look at anything, he's like in everything. He's like in everything. You know what I mean? The guy was Caesar in Planet of the Apes. He was Gollum. You know, he's done a lot for that industry, and
He
thus
wasn't
added
he
to the
wasn't just
experience,
Gollum, bro. He
the
was Gollum
cinematic
and
experience.
Smeagol.
Yeah,
Dude
yeah.
played
I mean,
two parts to
and the
not
guy's a
get
great
any
actor.
kind of recognition. Dog. It,
Yeah,
I think too, like you again, more categories, like you said, best stunt work. That dude, fucking, you know, a bit of a dark note, but like, dude, those people put their bodies on the line. How often don't you hear like, oh, a stunt worker died, stunt worker became paralyzed? These people are literally putting their lives on the line for our entertainment, and there's like zero recognition coming from the industry.
yeah. Yeah, no, like it's just when you put it, if you just put it in the way of like, yeah, John Wick's not getting recognized for anything because unfortunately we just don't have any categories for that.
Yeah.
That's where it's, to me, it's the most like glaring thing where you're just like, yeah, that does not sound right. You know what I mean? Like there's something just wrong about it when you're saying it out loud, that you're sitting there going, yeah, something needs to be done about that. They have to find a way to recognize these kinds of films. Not only did a lot of people watch that movie, but came out of that, generally speaking, came out of that theater, you know,
With a
being blown away
positive
by the
output.
experience. Bringing, if you're trying to bring more eyeballs to it, you know, that to me would have a difference. It would have a difference. I don't know if it completely turned the thing around and make it something that everybody watches, but um, you know, these kinds of things definitely, hopefully, over time, that they're just, it's like everything else, man. They've been, it's like baseball. You know what I mean? It's like baseball needs to make changes to what they're doing, but they won't do it because in the name of history. You know, this is how we've done it for so long, and if we change things now, it's not going to hold the prestigious weight that it held before. Or, you know, it's not going to be respected. There's tradition, and you know, to me, I'm just like, man, you have to change things. There's no progress without change. Things can't stay the way that they are and get better. Like that's not how it works. You know what I mean? So you have to evolve with the times. The times change. You need to change along with it. And if they don't do that fast enough, then they're going to see this dip. You know what I mean? Which is what they're experiencing now. And then they're finally learning. They're finally starting to add a little thing here and there. I think they're adding a best casting award in 2026. I'm like, Do it next year. Why are you
Yeah,
waiting
why
till
do you have to wait 2
2026?
years? You couldn't do it this year, next year.
What is blocking that from happening, or what? I don't understand. There's got to be a lot of politics involved, and those kinds of things. They just have to figure out how to expedite this process. They need to evolve. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah,
they're too passive.
overall, they're way too passive. They're way too passive. In a world where, like I said, people know who Mr. Beast is more than some of these mainstream actors, which was used to not be the case at all.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You would never think that a YouTuber could be even more popular than an A-list actor. But here we are.
well, the
Here we
difference
are.
is that YouTube actor or YouTube personality is doing everything they can to expand their reach, and as prestigious as you want to be, I think that, yeah, trying to stay super traditional is going to be the downfall of them. And you know what, maybe somebody else will step in and take over, or somebody will step in and say like, well, maybe we should do this now. Again,
Yeah.
People's Choice Award isn't that old, is it? I don't think it's as old as the Oscars.
Oh no, not even close. But and it could just be a matter of time where those kinds of things become more and more popular. If anything, people should be talking about how do we get more eyeballs on the People's Choice Awards. If casual fans really want to watch something
Yeah,
where these kinds of more popular films are recognized. But I'll be honest with you, like I've seen a lot of blockbusters, and to me, they're just most of them are just not really good movies. I get it. You have some of these like and not to nitpick, but like some of these movies like Venom and Uncharted and like those kinds of blockbuster. Shazam was like a big one this year. That it's like a blockbuster film. Black Adam. Black Adam was okay. But it's not like they're a great movie. And like
yeah, Black Adam wasn't great.
there's just they're more often they're like okay to bad, somewhere in that area to me. And occasionally you get a really good one. Like I said, it's gonna be a while before we get something like a Lord of the Rings that just kind of hits home, universally amongst cinemaphiles and casual fans. And even Endgame, didn't really do that, but it's still obviously it needs to be awarded, man, for what it did. It needs to be what they did over those 10 years and leading up to that, and then knocking that out the park. That needs to be applauded. And so they need to figure out a way to incorporate these things and give them the respect they deserve. That's the main thing to me.
Yeah, yeah. But as as their popularity might be falling, um, I found out this really interesting fact about the Oscars, and not particularly on the Oscar side of it, but on the people, and that Oscar gambling is like a thing. Like, you don't just bet on the categories, there's like a whole other world of gambling for the Oscars. And
I mean, you can gamble on anything.
yeah, right,
This does not
right,
surprise me whatsoever.
right. And
But
it comes from the fact that some states don't allow sports betting and stuff like that, so people have to get creative. And
you don't see this in like the states that even do allow sports
no,
betting.
you see
I'm
it
pretty
there
sure you
too,
do.
but it started in states that didn't allow sports betting like that and things like that.
So now they're gonna find out something that they can bet on.
Yeah, and what sort of, like you said, saved me on the Barbie train was, I think, one of the biggest betting pools is what Margot Robbie is gonna wear to the Oscars. Is it gonna be just a regular thing? Is it gonna be a Barbie dress? Is it gonna be a new Barbie dress? Is it gonna be,
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, like
yeah,
that. They're betting on
what she's gonna wear, which is
which
actually
which Barbie outfit she's gonna wear, which
yeah,
iconic Barbie
yeah,
outfit she's gonna have on.
which is a
Yeah,
big
I
part
mean
because what you wear is like important to the Oscars. If you wear,
that's part of it. Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
if your outfit gets worn, you made it. You become like a designer for celebrities and stuff. So that was like what sort of brought me into this. But as I was doing research, I was like, dude, who do I think is gonna win? You know, so I wanted to sort of take a little moment and ask you if we could go through a few of the categories and if you would give me who you think was gonna win
Like
the
this is for the
categories.
bet. This is specifically for these bettings. These. I mean, we're not here to advertise gambling, but
No,
like
no, 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 no.
this is to
How
me. It's
well
like
can
it
you
is interesting
guess?
that
How well can you guess what the Academy is trying to
do they
do?
show the odds and all that, the live odds or whatever.
No, no. It's just people just making bets. I don't think there's odds. It's like a way you win the bet or you lose the bet and you win whatever was bet on was put on the line. But like
I'm sure they'll have
I
that kind of
looked
info.
this up and the first one on my results was what Barbie dress is Margot Robbie gonna be wearing to
That
the
I don't nearly have enough knowledge about Barbie dresses to even have any kind of opinion on this. The what I'll say is I think she'll have some sort of Barbie inspired dress, so, and she will have some kind of something like that. But
you don't
I'll
think it's
go
gonna
with
be a direct dress that already exists for Barbie?
not like exactly picture for picture type of thing. I think she'll have her own like maybe if she was nominated for best actress,
It would have been a Barbie dress.
she would have had something like that maybe. But I still think she'll represent, but like in a different kind. Like she'll have her put it'll be like some designer's twist on that, like a modernized version of that dress. But yeah, I do think she'll have something Barbie inspired for sure.
All right. So that's your bit on the Barbie. So I'm gonna go through a few categories, and I'm gonna ask you who you think is gonna win. So we're just gonna start with Best Picture, and
Best picture,
the
go ahead.
nominees for Best Picture are American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, Holdovers, Killer of the Flower Moons, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
Um, see, this is where yeah, if I'm gonna have to say anything, my top three would probably be. Although I did love the holdovers, I just got to throw that out there real quick. Holdover, it's not for everybody, but I there's some again all these films are these types of films where you will watch the whole thing if you just sat down and got into it. But
Paul Giamatti's great, bro.
I'll say yeah, dude, I'll Paul Giamatti. But top three is gonna be between for sure Oppenheimer. That's probably that. If I had to pick one at the end of the day, I'm gonna say Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer for the win.
But
All right.
Barbie, I think, could easily be the sleeper that might take something like that just because of what it did. And then you have these films like The Zone of Interest is a really good movie too. And and occasionally these kind of movies just kind of creep up, and all of a sudden people be like, Zone of It's one of those, those Oscar winners where you're like, I've never even heard of that movie. I guess it's got to be good though. That's Zone of Interest fits that bill 100%. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that was a sleeper. Those are my two sleepers between Barbie and Zone of Interest, but I'm going to ultimately go with Oppenheimer.
All right. So you already said Killian Murphy for leading role.
That to
Uh,
me is probably the biggest lock. Either that one or Lily Gladstone as a leading actress.
all right. So we got your bit on those two. Um, then we also have supporting role for actor, and that one is I think you also said uh, Robert Downey Jr. was sort of your lock for that
I,
one, right?
yeah, that one's not quite the lock that I think Killian Murphy is, but I do think it's Ryan Gosling is a dark horse there, and then we talked about the leading actress. To me, Emma Stone is I don't even know if she's a dark horse, but she's probably the biggest competition there to Lily Gladstone taking that award. But there's been a lot of hype around Lily Gladstone and as far as winning that award. So I'm ultimately going with that one. But supporting role, yeah, I mean, if you watch Oppenheimer, he kills it. Like, he
Uh,
does really good with that. Obviously, Ryan Gosling killed it. He was hilarious. He was probably the funniest part of that film. And so he did a great job
he
with
was the
that. So
contrast. He was the contrast to her. Yeah, he does have like you said he has the chops, but is it enough
yeah,
to dethrone RDJ?
I
Maybe
don't know
De
about
Niro.
that.
Do you think?
See, the only reason why I think De Niro wouldn't ever get, I think he's being recognized because he's De Niro and all. He was good in the movie. Don't get it twisted. He was great in that, but I don't know if he'll I think a lot of times people kind of have there's always that actor who's just like, they're it's more like reputation that brings them there than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's that guy in that category there. Like if you look at all the other Mark Ruffalo, Sterling K. Brown, which both were equally fantastic in the movies that they were into. Mark Ruffalo was hilarious in Poor Things, and Robert De Niro just he does a good he's a great actor, man. Let's not beat around the bush with that. But ultimately, I do think I don't even want to fully say it, but I'm gonna say it. I think his reputation got him to this point, uh, more so than his actual performance. To me, Leonardo DiCaprio was good too. So I'm a bit shocked that he's actually not even at least nominated either. But as far as like ultimately, who I just truly did think did the best, it's got to be RDJ. It's got to be.
All right. And in the last one, supporting role for actress, and this is Emily Blunt, Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks in The Color Purple, America Ferrera in Barbie, Jodie Foster, Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph in Holdovers.
Divine Joy was great in The Holdover. Uh, Danielle Brooke. Danielle, if she doesn't win this year, she's gonna win something. She's gonna win in the future, man. She's amazing actress. And then America Ferrera was great in Barbie too. Jodie Foster and Jodie Foster is just a mainstay too. She's one of those. I mean, different. She was great in this movie. A little bit different than my opinion that I had on Robert De Niro, but because I do think she really was good in that film. If it were up to me, I would go with either Danielle Brooks or Divine Joy Randolph. You have Emily Blunt there. I wouldn't be shocked if Emily Blunt was good in that film, but it's not like I looked at that film and I was like, it's not like Lily Gladstone did with Killers of the Flower Moon. You know what I mean? Like when you came out of it, you were like she was just like scene stealing. You know what I mean? And Emily Blunt, I don't know if she was quite the scene stealer in Oppenheimer, though Oppenheimer was a mess. If she wins, she's gonna win by association to me. At least that's just my opinion, and not throwing any shade. I mean, I'm not saying she was bad or anything like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does win. If I had my choice, it would probably be between Danielle Brooks or Divine Joy Randolph. To me, maybe Danielle Brooks a little bit of a slight. If I had to rank them, slightly above, just because the Holdovers wasn't, it didn't. It was like one of those films that wasn't that, I guess, popular. I guess you'll say, but universally, people that watched it love that movie. And The Color Purple obviously has a certain history with it, and like I said, she's an amazing actress, and so I wouldn't be surprised if she wins. But I mean, if I had to say who do I think would win, it might be Emily Blunt. But I'm gonna say Danielle Brooks. I'm gonna say
Danielle Brooks. All right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Emily Blunt wins, though.
All right, we'll lock it in. And that sort of brings us to the end of the video. The Oscars are, I think, to the day of we're uploading the video.
Sunday, right? They're always on Sunday.
Sunday the 10th. So, not sure where you're at, but all you have to do is Google Oscars 2024 schedule, and it'll tell you what time it is in your area. So, if you want to watch them, give it a watch. Maybe place your own bets. Let us know who you would want to see win in the comments. Let us know how you think the award show could be improved. There's a lot of things. We can bring Ricky Gervais into it. Ricky Gervais 2026. We start that campaign now.
Give them comedians more time, damn it.
Yeah, dude. Let them know. Let them know a year ahead of time, and I guarantee you, those comedians.
It takes a comedian, months to come up with their specials. And you're giving them 2 weeks to come out, and you're expecting them to just be great. That's not how it works.
No.
Hook them up, man. Don't set them up for failure. That's my final hot.
But again, thank you guys for watching us. Give us a follow, give us a like, and you guys have a good weekend. And we leave you with peace.
Peace.